could ask everyone to silence their cell phones, please. And now, shall we rise for the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Gentlemen, we have minutes of our public meeting held on February 6th.
I'll move them. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Here we go. Then we have minutes of a special meeting that we had held on February 10th.
I'll move those. No, I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have public hearings. We're going to open our first one, and I will read down through exactly what it is, and then we will open it for discussion. This is a public hearing. We're opening for a public hearing in accordance with RSA 31:95-C to take public comment on changing the purpose of the Special Revenue Fund known as the Fire Ambulance Equipment and Apparatus Fund, to see if the town will vote to amend the vote taken on Article 7 at the 1999 annual meeting to restrict all revenues from ambulance billings to be deposited in the Special Revenue Fund, known as the Fire Ambulance Equipment and Apparatus Fund, to instead restrict all but the first $124,500 of revenues from ambulance billings received during the 2022 budgetary year to be deposited in the Special Revenue Fund, known as the Fire Ambulance Equipment and Apparatus Fund. The first $124,500 of revenues from the ambulance billings will be deposited in the town's general fund to defray the costs identified below. This restriction shall only be effective for the 2023 budgetary year. A 2/3 majority ballot vote. The items are training expenses, $3,000. Medical and supply expenses, $30,000. Ambulance billing fees, pardon me, ambulance billing fees, $20,000. Overtime, $40,000. Telephone, $2,000. Conference and dues, $1,500. Office expense, $12,000. Vehicle repair and parts, $8,000. Fuel, $8,000. Please note that this public hearing, despite inaccurate comments on Facebook, is only necessary for this article, and that this is something that we have to do each and every year by law because it is a special revenue fund. The purpose in which we are allocating these funds are directly for the fire department and fall within the purpose of the special revenue fund. We are not defraying funds to any other purpose or department. We'll open it for any public comment. Chief?
This is how we do this every year. It's required by law because of the way the RSA was written. And every year we have 100 questions on it, but it's no really change. We've done it this way for the last at least 10 years. I can think that this particular has been in place. So there's really nothing out of the norm for this.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions in regards to this? Okay. Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. I don't think we have to vote on this. This is just a public comment.
Yep.
Okay. Was there a time frame that we had to, no, okay. All right. Public hearing Number 2, we're going to open this public hearing to take public comment on rescinding the provisions of RSA 40:13, known as SB 2, as adopted by the town of Belmont on March 11, 2008, so that the official ballot will no longer be used for voting on all questions, but only for the election of officers and certain other questions for which the official ballot is required by state law. This is a petition warrant article. Public comment. What? No? No public comment.
Chair.
Yes,
Thank you.
please.
It says something quick about SB2.
And you need to state your name and
Yeah.
address, please.
Travis O'Hara, 25 Spring Street.
Okay.
I'm speaking in opposition of removing SB2. SB2 allows all citizens of Belmont an equal saying in the future of our town. Others have described the removal of SB2 as a power move by elite in our town, but I generally think it's an overreaction. For those of you that don't know about SB2, it breaks up the annual town meeting into 2 different sessions. The first is to explain and debate any articles and present it to the town, and the second meeting is during our balloting for local officials when we get to cast a vote on the articles. This means we, the citizens of Belmont, will not have a say in the articles unless we attend this one set day and time. Please bear in mind that Belmont is a hardworking blue-collar town where some of us have to work to afford to live in this gorgeous town. By eliminating SB2, you are telling the citizens their voice doesn't matter unless they miss family affairs, visits with their children, or even work to attend this one set time. By maintaining the status as an SB2 town, we are allowing all articles to be voted on by all citizens that can make it to the polls between 7 and 7 on voting day, rather than the few that attend the annual meeting. I have heard that this is due to the well grant last year. I will openly tell you I voted for the repairs because I educated myself on it and knew it was worth it. The problem seems to stem from a deep distrust of the current leadership of our town, whether it's warranted or not. Also, the article failed due to lack of information provided to the public. Unfortunately, if this article passes, we will be a target of the Free State Project again. There was a massive grassroots movement to remove the Free Stater from power in our town, which the voters accepted during the Republican primary. The Free State Project loves to target towns without SB2 because they will mobilize at the last minute and hold an annual meeting hostage till the Free State Project knows they have the votes to cut critical services. Google Free State Create in School to see how they cut the school budget in half. I will be voting no on the removal of SB2. Thank you.
Travis, do you mind if Colleen has your written notes just so she's accurate for the minutes?
Yeah.
Thank you. You can always ask if you see that they have something.
Any other? Okay.
My name's Mike Leclerc, 321 Brown Hill Road. So, when you talk about the elite that brought about this petition warrant, my name's Mike, and I graduated in 1990 from Belmont High School. I know probably 90% of the people in this room, and I would consider myself and my wife townies. And the problem is, there was a deliberative session that hardly anyone went to. And if you look at, I don't want to talk my back to the people, because the people in the front already know me. And I feel that it's not about opening up the Free State, and I understand where that comes from. What I see there's a motion that you can make to close down for further talk, and I forget the words right now, maybe the board can help me with that.
Limit debate.
What's that?
Limit debate.
No, it was,
For reconsideration, close for reconsideration.
yeah, closed for reconsideration. Was that what it was?
What's happened in the past, in other towns and in this town, way in the past, is that there was a failure to close down motions. So what happens is, you can close down a motion to further debate, and then it goes on. Once everyone votes for that, it cannot be revisited at the end, and have some things still stolen away. Towns now, do that, so that doesn't happen. And correct me if I'm wrong, sir, is that correct? I don't want to misspeak. I don't know if you can
So it was what correctly?
close down the motion.
Well, she said the motion to limit reconsideration, I mean, once it's voted on. My name is Alvin Nix, I'm your town moderator. So that means that once that motion passes, we can't go back to it.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
And what I was looking for when I spoke to have SB two is that people are voting on what they don't understand. They go to vote, they have no idea what they're talking about, they just go in there and I get the right to vote. And it's not about taking away, people's right to vote. And it's not about, the town meeting is democracy in its purest form. And it will limit voters, guaranteed, there'll be a lot less voters. Last year, there was 19% of the people that are registered in town Belmont vote. That's terrible. That means 19% care to get out of their car, get out of their house. It will limit the elderly, it will limit people with handicap access. Because they can't sit in the town meeting all day. Yeah, that will happen. But if you look at this room right now, pretty well represented. You got people that lived here their entire lives, people that lived in town, you've got young and you've got the elderly. So when you look at what actually happens in a town meeting, it's nice to get to know your neighbors. It's nice to get to see people. It's nice to see the kids running around selling Girl Scout cookies or the boys that popcorn or whatever the heck it is. It's nice to see people. Like I remember when I was younger, people reading books, people sewing, crochet, whatever. It's a time for the town to get together, and if you can't contribute 5-6 hours to your town one day a year on a Saturday, that's pretty pathetic. That's all I have to say.
Any other comments?
Okay. I'm not totally, I understand where Michael came, and so there's no conjecture here, he is my son-in-law. But we used to fill an auditorium at Belmont High School, which is now the middle school, at a town meeting day. If our deliberative session, you took the people that are in this room tonight, the moderator, the police chief, the civil servants that we have here, the welfare director, the people that we have, the fire chief, and that, out of here. People leave it to us. Yeah, you elected 5, you're gonna have 5 this year. How much time can someone who works every day put into what we do? No one participates. Everybody complains, but nobody wants to stand up and say, can I help? What can I do? What can I say? What can change? They all want the best. There's a lady sitting right there, called me, has taken more abuse from this town over garbage cans than any person in this world should ever take. Why do we have garbage cans? Because the only one company bid. Nobody else bid. We put out bids, there's no bids. Every town around us has got them. Laconia's getting them in April. But she's taking the abuse and the frustration for short amount of money because nobody went to the meetings. Nobody understood what this meant. When we tried to establish 15 years ago a town dump, nobody, I don't want no dump in my backyard. We had one. Think about our dump. It's on top of our water supply. Nobody wanted to participate. Everybody wants a vote. Everybody wants to play the game, but nobody wants it in their backyard. Nobody participates. If it wasn't for a full agenda tonight, nobody'd be here. Nobody. And then they expect us to make the decisions, and we do the best we can, we provide it, we explain it, you vote for it. Last year, at the end of the town meeting, people came in and won $150,000 for the rec center. Show me where your rec center is. They brought in just enough people, because there was no reconsideration called, and they got it, so where's the money? You ain't got you got a rec center, but it's the same rec center you had. Nobody wants to play the game. Nobody wants to get involved. They can sit here and say, I want to. Nobody. wants to really get involved and put their time on it. That man sitting right over there has given more time than I ever have, and I've done this for a few years. But it's time. This may not be the answer, but it's a thing to consider, to try to get somebody to come and say, yeah, we had fistfights at town meeting many years ago. Oh, it was a mess. No names. I wasn't involved. I had a lady tell me when I opposed the fire truck, that when I owned the largest house on 107, and she said it publicly, and she was related to a firefighter, that when your house starts burning, we're not coming. Publicly, at the microphone. We have to, as a town, somehow get some public involvement. The feeling. I didn't agree with the 5 selectmen, and I still don't. But the bottom line is, look at this room tonight. Pretty small group for a night meeting. We hear day meetings. You know how much money we save in a year on day meetings? They get paid. They worked all day. They're getting paid. He's getting paid. They're getting paid, and they're here. So if we do it during the day, we never said no. The library's here because they want to talk about something, and we're here. The town, the public urgency in this town is to try to get somebody or some group. You don't have to all agree. Just talk about it. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Sure.
Woody? What?
Look, Woody.
Okay, Woody? No fighting, boys.
I'll do the same thing. I think that's better. Look at people. My name's Woody Fogg. I live on Jamestown Road, and I can't keep my mouth shut on this one. I was horrified when we went to Senate Bill, took the Senate Bill 2 route. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Democracy is not a spectator sport. With every right, there comes a responsibility. With the right to vote comes the responsibility to vote responsibly. We need to vote knowledgeably, to know what you're talking about, to know what you're voting on. The beauty of town meeting was, that's where folks who proposed something or were in favor of something or put an article on the warrant would speak up and explain the background. And the selectmen or whatever town board was involved had the opportunity to explain it, and people basically had to listen to it and understand before they voted. It wasn't convenient, and as somebody who has seen firsthand the price that gets paid for our right to vote, I don't care. Democracy was never intended to be convenient. So if it's a little tough to get time off from work and go to town meeting on Saturday, or if it's a little tough to get the wheelchair out and roll into town meeting, so be it. Other folks have put up with lots worse to guarantee the right to vote. Thank you.
Al?
I'm Alvin Nix, I'm the town moderator. I've had the pleasure of being town moderator for 10 years, thereabouts. I've never done a traditional town meeting. I will tell you that right here and now. But I've done the SB2s. And I hear the argument about getting people out. Well, if the town votes to repeal SB2, I will stay the moderator and I will do it. I really will. I'll learn it. I will learn it, I promise you. But I'm concerned about the fact that we have the deliberative session, and what I hear here is people will get up, people will talk. Well, I've heard of that session, and I know some of the ones you're referring to, John, they've gone, till midnight. And the problem being is that if we can't get people to come to a 2.5 hour, 3 hour deliberative session, do you really think you're gonna get them to come to a 12-hour session? I'm concerned about that, you know, so I don't know whether that's productive or unproductive. Then I think about, you know, the instance that I look on the town sign by the parking lot, and it states that, you can get the program for the town, the voter's guide, or you can go onto the internet. People have access to the information they need. I mean, I think they really do, and I'm just amazed that they don't. So why is it that we're trying to, you know, put more time out for people not to attend a meeting that's gonna take an awful lot of time? And then, you know, I hear, well, this person voted and they didn't know what they were voting for, and I respect that, but if they wouldn't even come to the deliberative session, how am I gonna get that same person who we're talking about, who we wanna have sit there and tell them what's happening, how are we gonna get them to come to a day session? I don't know. That's my only concern. And that's the only thing, we look out there and like John said, you do the SB2 for year after year after year after year, same faces. And in fact, in many cases, it's more staff than it is.
I think, be quite frank with you, Mr. Moderator, if we took the people out of the administrative session that are employees of the town, that answer questions for their budgets or any questions that might come up, we might have had 45 people out of 4,800.
What happens, and just, I think I know the answer, but obviously the school is SB2, so that vote would take place, whatever that date is, and the polls would be open from 7 to 7 for the school vote. And then if we go back to the old style town meeting, then we're going to have that was a day, so that would be a Saturday usually, typically. That would be another vote, so that means we've gotta have our checklist people and everything there that we pay to be there for the town meeting. Then we have to have the checklist people now a second time that have to be there from 7 to 7, and we have to pay for that.
Tuesday.
Then are we going to still close the school? Are they gonna close the school the day for SB2 for the school? Obviously, Saturday, they would have to forego any sports things going on within the cafeteria. I'm just trying to, in my brain,
Well,
it's gonna be more money. Our voting machine, it counts both, right?
both meeting.
The school in the town, does our vote? No, that's two separate ballot boxes. Two machines. All right, that's right.
So
Okay.
what I'm to understand how this works is, we still have to have for selectmen, for moderator, for trustees of the trust fund, we still have to have a paper ballot vote with the machine on that day.
Yeah.
Tuesday. We are also mandated by law, because we are a regional district, the town now has to count the school's votes. So we're gonna have to do that either way.
No matter what.
Yeah, we were stunned when we were told that we had to do the school's votes.
Yeah.
But
No matter what.
That's what the state said, and that's what we do. We do what we're told to. And so, yes, we would have to have the Saturday session, and we'd have to have the Tuesday session, and we'd still have to have, and all we'd be doing is voting for the elected officials, nothing more,
Right,
for 12 hours.
right.
And then we'd have to be looking at the school voting as well.
Yeah.
So, it can be cumbersome. My only concern, when I came, is I just can't understand that I don't understand how having that, I understand the desire to have people come and participate, but if they won't even come to a 2.5-hour session, how on earth are we gonna get them to come to an all-day session? And that's really the reality that I see. And as Ruth said, last year, there was the argument made that we need to have 5 selectmen, because we wanna get young people involved. They don't come. They're not running for office. And I mean, so it's that apathy that, how do we do that? I respect the idea of how do we get people to participate? But it's just, with the internet, everyone's always like this, looking stuff up. I think that's where they're going. I'm very concerned that you may get people like me, yourselves, the people in this room to attend those hearings, but how many new people have moved into the town? Are you really gonna get them to come?
And that's interesting, because I've met some new people that have moved into town. We have new neighbors from Indiana, and he's a retired heart surgeon. okay? So I consider, you know, he's a pretty knowledgeable man, and I said, oh my God, you wanna participate, you know, I have no interest in anything. I'm just here to live, I don't plan to vote, I'm not getting involved, and I'm going, okay. I mean, that's really hard. I mean, he's not young, but he's not old either, and that was his attitude. I came here so I don't have to deal with any of that. So, I'm going, and he's not the only one that we hear that from.
Yeah,
Sad.
and I go
Sad.
back to when they first, I remember the town of Grafton, and I went to a training, it was my first year as moderator, and this woman, she became the moderator for the town of Grafton, and it was she resigned after that one meeting because of the Free Stater issue, and it was in the newspapers, and you all read about it. Free Staters, non-staters, Democrats, liberals, right-wings, partisans, we got all these people anyway, one way or the other, you know? Everybody has a right to speak, the right to do what they do. It'll be quite the chore to deal with any of those issues, but I think we have the skills and the ability to do it. So if the town votes in favor of repealing SB 2, we're gonna do it, we're gonna make it work. Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry. All right, I'm loud enough anyway, so you know me.
Yep.
I want to address one of the comments, Mr. O'Hara.
Name.
Tracy Leclerc,
Thank you.
Brown Hill Road. Bridgman Lawn. The well was not what precipitated this, item of my husband's. I honestly can tell you, I'm not quite sure the exact item, but it came home from the planning board. Just for the record, Mike has been on the planning board for more than 6 years, and I've been on the budget committee for more than 7. We give our time freely is what we believe in. But he came home one night, and he just said, I need to do this to get rid of SB 2. I'm really tired of putting in this work with my board members, putting stuff to the public and saying, we figured this out, and people saying no without knowing what it is. And we know that because years ago, I think it was the first year he ran for selectman, my kids were little and I was at a soccer field. I'm like, hey, we voted today. Did you vote, sir? I did. I voted for officials and I voted no for everything else. I said, really? You voted no on the sergeant fund where we give money for kids? Yep, didn't know what it was, so I voted no. You voted no, at the time it was Comstar money, on the Comstar money that we've already, I consider it earned. These folks are being paid for what they've done and now they're spending it. You voted no on that? I did, I didn't know what it was. Okay, this is what it was. At the time, they actually thought my dad was Milo, so they were really confused. People, unfortunately, are given the name to a right to vote, but we can't make them educate themselves. I do realize there's a slim chance that this will pass, but what I would encourage you all to do is to get your neighbors to get one of these books and read it. There's things in here to protect our veterans and what they get for monies, because if those 2 articles don't pass, that changes what they can get. People aren't voting on what they understand. They're voting no because they see $1 and they think about their woe. That's the motivation here. And if it provides a conversation that you start to talk to your neighbors and say, hey, read through this, see which items actually affect your tax dollar, it will change the way things come out. Sure, the water thing irritated me. He heard me complain about it because I sat through and knew. We gave away $1.5 million. Most of us would bend down and pick up $1 when we drop it on the ground, but we as a town gave away $1.5 million. So that's the point. Maybe SB 2 is for us, but we need to start to educate our town. That's the point for me for this. I don't know what he thinks about that, but circulate those. Talk to the people that you know are going to vote. Have them educate themselves on why. Have them ask somebody who's on one of those boards or an elected official. I don't understand this one. They're all available through email. Sorry, folks.
Gee, thanks.
I'd like to back up what Tracy said, because she kind of.
Up here, please. Give your name.
Craig Belmont, 33 West. I'd just kind of like to back up what Tracy said, but I guess what we need to remember is, what does SB stand for? So it's a secret ballot. Now, we worked pretty hard 4 or 5 years ago, the town administrator. It was a lot of work to get that grant, get that money. And
so much easier for somebody to go in and go, no, than it is, now, how would it have been if people would have had to raise their hand and said, you know, that little girl's water isn't going to take a drink? You know, when you have to raise your hand in front of somebody and state your opinion, I think that means something. So that's, I mean, granted, it's gonna be a lot of work to get people involved and get people to come and sit for 8 hours. But I remember when I was a kid, that's what people did. It was a big to-do. I mean, it was how you met your neighbors. You know, very little, and I used to sit in the corner together, and my parents were voting, you know, that's what we did. That's traditional democracy at its best. And granted, SB 2 has its advantages, but it certainly has its disadvantages. Thank you.
Any other comments? No other comments? Okay. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. And we'll move on to our new business. New business is the library trustees are here.
Hi, Mary Charnley, 41 Sergeant Street. So, just to let you know, 4 trustees, we're volunteers, so we're not on any payroll right now. We wanted a couple of things corrected. The last time we were here, Duffy Fund gets brought up quite a bit. So Sheila and I had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Garfield to get the correct amount, because they do meet, I believe, at 4 o'clock. I, as a teacher in another community, cannot make it back in time. And we're volunteers and working outside the community as well. So an amount was mentioned of $358,000. That was totally incorrect. So we want to make sure that stands for the record. It is actually the interest that they would even think of approving is only $160,276.07.
Mary, I'm sorry to interrupt you. But most people don't understand, and you just lost me. So the Duffy Fund is what we're talking about?
Correct.
Just give a little history
Give a
on
little
the
history on the Duffy Fund, so these
just
people
so that.
understand what the Duffy Fund is.
Okay. The Duffy Fund was money that was allocated for the library to stay where it is and for the maintenance of the library. It is held in a trust of the trustees of trust funds for the town of Belmont. And if we ever want to look up any maintenance or do any maintenance for the building, we have to make a request, submit a work order or a statement, and they look at it to approve it. Usually it's pre-approved before.
And I assume the only monies that you can use is the interest that is made from.
Correct.
Okay.
And I believe it's the Bank of New Hampshire? Yes. Correct. Bank of New Hampshire is the one that actually holds the trust. But this is in the town report every single year. So, I mean, we don't even know the interest, how much it changes. So we want to make sure it is corrected on public record. As of December 31st, 2021, it was, I'll repeat it again, $160,276.07. And that is the only interest. So that would be the only amount that they would approve for us to even spend.
You said
2021
2021, though? You mean 2020?
No,
No,
December
2021.
31st, 2021. That's a
So you-
statement, because we received this from Mr. Garfield before the new
They work
town
it.
report.
They
So if
do.
you wanted it completely updated, you would have to check
They're
with the
in a
town
release.
report.
That amount of them.
He should have that to you already. He should have December 22's for
We
you.
met in the beginning of December. He did not have it as of yet.
Okay.
So what was that amount again?
So as of December 31st, 2021, it was
Yeah.
$160,276.07, which is about $200,000 difference from what was spoken before. So we wanted to make sure that was justified and clarified. So the Belmont Public Library trustees would like to request to have the bank building not torn down until the Belmont Library trustees may have the opportunity to evaluate all the library expansion options. And that is our request.
Thank you. Any comments?
The only comment I have is, when they asked us this, we offered 5, 6 years ago to give them that building, they said no thank you. And we offered that, and they said no thank you.
There was actually numerous meetings. We actually met with Jean, another trustee, and I in the town hall.
This isn't my first day sitting here, you know that.
I understand that's not my first either.
No.
So, we actually met at the town, and we were offered that, and we were not in the position right then and there to take on that.
Well, the only disadvantage we have, as a board, we can tear it down anytime we want. We can't build anything anytime we want, but we can tear them down. Not just that building, any building. So we didn't, and we just held on to it because we were trying to move ourselves into this building. And we used it for the town, for storage and stuff from town and stuff, to not destroy something. To be quite frank with you, I don't see us tearing it down tomorrow or right away soon because we do use the building. And I think you have a viable idea of maybe something that it could be used for, and I would support that idea after it goes on. Unfortunately, I did support, many years ago, the library spent in excess of $150,000 to $60,000 on a set of plans, which were sponsored by then Selectmen Morris. And extensive plans to add on around the corner toward the mill, and those plans are somewhere around, because they were architectural plans, and that money was paid at an expense of both the town and the library fund. So before this goes any further, those plans of where they are now, I have no idea.
So we do have the plans, and they were over 13 years ago, way before any of us were elected as volunteers for this committee.
Yeah, but I was, so I still, I got a little bit of a
We do
memory.
have the plans, and they're different because the revitalization
after that.
actually came down, and the bandstand was moved, and then the veteran memorial. So whether they can be used again, we're not really quite sure. That was through Chris Williams, the architect in
And then
Meredith.
there was a real architectural study about to stay in compliance with the Duffy Fund. Now, I may be completely wrong here, but there's been a man before us, and you know the man, Mr. Mitchell has been before us and before the town, prescribing that we should build a new library somewhere else and keep that as a historical monument. And I'm not saying whether he's right or wrong, because I don't know if he is. I really don't. It seems to take enough time to just keep these guys in the blue suits and the firemen and the highway department under our grasp. But the library's become very busy, and you guys have done a great job in town. You really have. So I don't want to short you out of something, but I want to promise something that we can't live with. But I'm in favor of your request to just hold off and we'll just see where we go from this point on, if that would be all right with it. And I agree with you tonight. I agree that we should just let it set for right now. Just status quo, because we have a project in front of us. We built a police station, and we're now gonna build a town hall, and it's gonna be in this building. But come hell or high water, I'm gonna live long enough to see that happen.
Thank you, dear. Conservation Commission appointment. So we've received a,
Request from
Yeah.
Georgina Lambert
Mhm.
to serve as an alternate.
all right,
Nope, regular? Oh, she
Regular.
served as alternate. She's moving from an
Regular member.
alternate position to a regular member.
Yeah.
So if you would like to,
I'll make a motion to appoint Georgina Lambert to serve as a regular member on the Conservation Commission with a term to expire on March 2024.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now we have Conservation Commission update on land acquisition.
I should put that up. I got that.
Denise?
Denise Neva, 27 Swallow Road.
Good evening.
And I have some materials for each of you. The Conservation Commission recently voted unanimously at our February 8th meeting to expend $218,000 from the Conservation Fund to purchase and conserve for the town of Belmont approximately 89 acres of forest and wetlands located on Mile Hill. The Conservation Fund balance is $327,598.42. Additional costs will likely be incurred, such as closing costs and attorney's fees. We did a detailed property evaluation, and the checklist is attached to your materials there. So you can see that this property meets and exceeds some of the conservation properties that are important to conserve. So what we'd like to do next is to keep you posted. I also have John Peterson, Skip Peterson here, who is the owner and of the property, and if there are any questions that you folks have for him or me, I'd be happy to answer them. We will need to consult with town council regarding, there is a contract currently in place with Skip and Vertrex Towers. It's a company that approached Skip and Lynn to put up a cell tower perhaps on their property. And it will expire in 24?
24.
Right. So, our question is this going to be passed on to the town? And according to the person you spoke with, it could be. Whether we want that or not is up in the air, I don't know. And whether we can get, if the contract needs to be addressed, obviously legal counsel would probably need to be consulted. And I do have a copy of the contract, and Skip was very generous to give that to me, and I can bring that to the town attorney.
I wish you would, because I don't have anything from what you're saying in front of me, right this minute. It's not in my pack.
Oh, this?
Yeah, I don't have any of that.
Oh, what?
I don't have any of this. I know where his land is. I'm a neighbor to him. I know where his land is. I don't have any of that.
That's right there. Oh,
It's right here.
Yeah. Show me where. Show me where. Go ahead. I read pretty well.
So,
So my question would be, and I guess I gotta ask this of you and of him, if this land is bought by the conservation, the tower they're gonna erect on that land, if that so passes, that is subject to taxes over and above the conservation, am I correct?
Yes.
Because they would need an easement to it, and the easement and the property that that tower is mounted on would be subject to taxation by the town. Would I be correct in assuming that?
Yes, as I know.
yeah,
think so.
I would
it
think
would
so.
be leased.
I mean, I have a tower in Northfield.
So they were talking about going across the Gilbert property to access that.
Yeah,
The tower would be
I
right
understand
across
that.
the boundary.
Well, in fact, I know where your land is, and I know the Gilbert property, and you know, I'm not opposed to this, and I'm not trying to queer the deal. I just don't have your maps and stuff that they do.
I guess a question I have for you is, they put a cell tower in by Bishop Road
Yeah.
recently. Do you foresee that there will be additional needs for cell towers in Belmont? I mean,
Yes, because my house is on Dewtower Road,
okay,
83 Dewtower Road. And if I walk from my house to my garage, I have no, and Verizon, same tower, I have no cell service. There are enough valleys, we go in and out of it, and that man tried to call me one day, he said, "Are you home?" I said, "No." I said, "The phone ain't ringing." "What are you talking ain't ringing?" He said, "Where are you?" "I'm in the garage, and I got my phone on my belt." So I think there's enough dead areas and there's enough of this, that I think that's a possibility. But my next question is, the Conservation Commission, if you take this land and you put a deal together with him, does that exclude them from taxation of that tower? Because we don't tax you on your conservation land, but to me, this is a commercial entity, so they,
Well, they would be leasing the property, so,
but the structure, okay,
Yeah, because it's a public utility.
it's a public
I see.
utility,
taxed.
and the right of way into it, okay, would be taxed, I assume. I don't know that, I'm not a lawyer, I'm just a used car guy, I don't know
Right.
that.
Yeah.
so it is a question that obviously we need to address. And then the other thing that I would look for guidance for is whether our building inspector.
No, he's
He's
not
not
here.
here.
Oh,
He's
he's not here.
No.
Oh, okay, I thought you were.
No.
He's plows your roads.
Oh, okay. I knew you had something to do with it. Sorry about that. But whether,
You'll find out when the road ain't plowed.
right, especially Swallow Road, yes. Whether we would need to consult with the building inspector to check if there's any potential for contamination from neighboring properties, and I think you know what I mean. There is
Well, I
a,
have to say that the Gilbert property has been a certified junkyard now for 5 years, and it gets inspected every year.
right,
It's one of the only ones, well, we got two in town now that are really monitored. They're on cement slabs, they got the drainage tanks, they've done it, they've cleaned it up. So the Gilbert property doesn't, the only thing that concerns me is that we don't plow the road through in the winter.
right.
And I think Mr. Claremont will tell you, the one thing we had was a mattress factory. Because all the people that live in those apartments throw their mattresses up on, you know. You know.
Yeah,
They throw that, they're gonna get new bedrooms set, they throw it on his property. And garbage and, yeah, that's the only thing. 'Cause we
unfortunately,
don't plow that road through in the winter. So
right.
there might be an assessment, if in fact they want asphalted and all that, that's gonna be up to our public works director, how they handle that.
I don't see that being an issue as far as paving the road. You know, I think that its current use is probably the way it's gonna be for some time.
However, to get to it, somebody's gotta plow it, because if that tower's got a problem, we plow
Oh, the,
off Two Tower Road and
tower,
stop.
right, right, right.
There's a gap in the
I see
middle,
what you're saying. Mhm.
it's not plowed through.
The way they were talking to me about it, they wanted to access it through the Gilbert property and maintain it themselves, plow it themselves, and maybe a secondary road going.
Well, there is an actual road, I mean, there was a road many years ago that you could go where your gate is, right to the Gilbert property, there was a road there.
It's
I mean, you
Humboldt
could
Road,
drive,
right.
many years
Classics.
ago, you could drive right to Gilbert's junkyard off the left, Mile Road. Well, we'll see where it goes. Just move
Okay,
on.
sounds good. So we will keep you apprised. We have to have a public hearing regarding the expenditure of these funds. We have to have 10 days' notice, so I was hoping we could do it at our next meeting, but we don't have enough time, so it'll probably be the April meeting.
Does the land abut the 40?
Yes,
Is that, okay. I didn't know if there was anything.
it's right where that gate is, right?
Yeah,
That's his land.
I just didn't know if there was a piece in between, so. Quite a ways, it goes down, the shares of line quite a ways. Yeah. Several thousand feet.
I have two questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So you said something about the road possibly being paved in the future?
We don't see that happening, but if the cell tower did go in, they would have to get access to it, but I think what we were talking about would be coming in from the opposite way.
Conservation use, why would you need to pave rent? My other question is, if you put a cell tower on a piece of property, usually they pay rent,
Yes.
so who gets the rent? Does the conservation committee get it?
Yeah, it's $1,000 a month, is it?
$1,000 a month, it would be.
Once it's constructed. But, you know, when I read the contract,
So who gets that once the
it
conservation?
will go to the town somehow, if that's where we go with it. But, you know, my personal feeling is that I don't feel a cell tower is conducive to
Conservation.
conserved land.
Well, I will say this about cell towers anywhere in the state of New Hampshire right now, is most people don't have landline phones. And it becomes a huge issue of safety. So if you're walking down the street and something happens, you're in your car, you're on your foot, whatever, and you don't have service, and you need service, it's like your house burning down and they're all at lunch at the other end of the town, and no one's there to help you. It's,
Right. And obviously, that's something that, you know, we need to get kind we, as a town, need to have another cell tower in that area, you know? I mean, there's no doubt that we're probably gonna get more of them as technology changes, but, you know, when I was reading the contract and how much work that they would do to construct it, it would sound pretty disruptive, so, but.
Well, a good example is going to Gilmington Ironworks, is it Swain's property, and they built the road up the mountain. I mean, I couldn't believe, I mean, that wasn't just that's not a cow path. That's a
Right.
road.
Road.
Yeah, that's exactly, they spent a lot of money to get up that mountain to have access to that. I
Right.
assume it's a tower up there that they put up there,
Right.
so, yeah.
And the Belmont Bogey Busters use the Hubble Road to go up and down. So if it's going to be used as an access to the cell tower, then that's going to interfere with their ability to recreate too. So.
Well, actually, the Bogey Busters Trail goes across my property and goes beside the Gilbert property. It doesn't go down the road, down Hubble Road. It goes beside it through the woods. And that,
Well, down by the bottom, down by Mile Hill across.
yeah, but it goes across Two Tower Road, 'cause I own that, I own that land across the street, from where they cross. On my side.
They come right down Mile Hill, and then they go up Hubble Road a little ways, and they, once you're up Hubble Road, they go off.
Well, see, Hubble Road really is the road you're talking about, which they want their access on. Hubble Road originally went right through Mr. Al Gilbert's dooryard and turned right and ended up on Mile Hill Road for years. I mean,
What
that-
they were talking to me about was having their prime access and making a deal with Gilbert's to go across there with the power. It would be a lot cheaper to go across, you know, with the power from that way. And then the secondary road, they'd be going up, you know, where the
Well, they must be doing something, because Breeze Line's running all new power up Two Tower Road today. All new cable.
All right, so you'll keep us posted.
We will.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Asset management grant update. This has to do with our clean drinking water.
Yes, so we're talking about failed grants. We got word last week of the grant application that we had submitted under the Asset Management Grant Program, under the Clean Drinking Water and Groundwater Bureau. This is the grant that we've applied for. I think this is our third, maybe fourth round. The funds were anticipated to go towards the iron and manganese treatment facility. We did not score high enough on this list. We scored 15th on the list, and this time around, we were only gonna get 77,000 versus the 1.5 originally, so.
Okay, we're going down the list. God forbid if we get the letter.
Unfortunately, that's nothing to move forward with.
I think we kind of discussed the fact that we weren't going to reapply
Right.
this year. We were going to hold off in hopes that maybe if we hold off, we might move further up the list. But obviously, because we did not accept the 1.5, we're down, way down on the list. Okay. Household hazardous day.
Yes, every year, Town of Belmont sponsors the Household Hazardous Collection Program, and the Lakes Region Planning Commission is just asking for your commitment to the day, and they have chosen July 29th, and the rain date is August 5th.
Now, if I remember correctly, it's no longer going to be at the fire station. It is going to be at the highway garage.
Correct.
Obviously, the highway department has graciously, agreed. Wasn't that nice? I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, has graciously.
That's a very nice way of telling him you told him he's gonna do it.
I was trying to be nice.
And,
Okay.
Tom Murphy is giving up his reins as the coordinator and passing that on to Brian and Kyle and Brad Jameson. So they're gonna take that on this year.
Kyle and Brad Jameson.
Yep. Yep. Awesome.
Getting newbies involved.
You want a motion on that, Ray?
Yes, if you like, there's one
Okay.
in your,
I'll make a motion to approve the letter of commitment for the Belmont participate in the Household Hazardous Day Collection Program on July 29th, August 5th, 2023, for the appropriation of $6,014.
And I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Chief, we have PD new hire.
Correct. We,
kind of a new hire.
Kind of a new hire.
Promotion.
Semi-new hire.
We have Louis Arias, who was a Woodstock police officer. He was a part-time officer for me for several months. We have now elevated him to full-time. He comes to us with over 4 years of experience, and he's certified, which is awesome. And also, we have Stephen Colcord, who comes to me from the Sheriff's Department. He is the new school resource officer covering the middle school and the high school.
Awesome.
And he'll be dedicated to the school and school only, with his hours of employment, because he's retired. He officially retired from full-time employment, so his 1,300 hours, 1,325 will be eaten up with the school from the time it starts till the time it ends.
Awesome.
And he'll be assigned.
Am I right, Chief? That's a reimbursement from the school.
That's a reimbursement from the school, so it's no
Jackson,
taxes.
thank you.
Okay.
I'll make the motion on the two new hires of Lou Arias and Stephen Colcord.
Okay. I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. PD detail increase request.
Right. With, in the area, trying to just stay somewhat competitive in the area, which is something we're running into a real problem with, both in hiring and retention right now. Our current detail rate is sufficiently under the towns surrounding us.
Mhm.
So we'd like to bring the detail rate back up a little bit to stay somewhat in line with them. So we would move from the $75 per hour to a $90 per hour rate. The one thing that I would request that we do also is that we stay with the original rate that we have now for town residents that are requesting civil standbys. So we don't hit them with the higher rate, we can hit them with the lower rate and give them some kind of a break, because on a civil standby, we have to supply an officer there. And it is a detail that they're hiring. It has a 4-hour minimum. So instead of, hitting a resident hard for a civil standby in a domestic situation or whatever the case may be, civil situation, we'll give it some kind of
A different
break,
rate
even though
versus.
it's, has some money attached to it, at least we'll give them a break on it.
Okay, all right. Any questions, guys? All right,
I'll make a motion to accept the detail rate increase per the chief's recommendation, and also his recommendation for people who live in the community and he's doing a civil complaint.
okay,
I'll second it.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Finance clerk new hire.
Yes, so we were charged with, trying to find a part-time finance clerk, which in this hiring market is kind of hard, but we found the one gem out there who only wanted part-time and, comes from another town with the same operating systems that we use currently. So with your blessing, we would like to,
And when will he be starting?
sometime in March.
Okay.
And the rate of pay? How many hours does she work? How many hours does she work? What hours does she work?
He
Well, he-
will work 4 days a week, 9 to 3, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off, and Friday, 9 to 2.
Sorry, I assumed it was a lady.
It's a he.
Stephen.
Yeah, works in Gilmanton.
Catherine, did you have something to add? I'm sorry.
I was just at $25 an hour.
Okay,
And that is below what I budgeted.
okay, all right.
So when does she start?
He starts in
Oh, he.
March.
I'll make a motion to approve the hiring of Stephen Forster as a new part-time finance clerk.
And I'll second that
All
motion.
right. all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, L-CHIP incentive program.
Alright, so.
Just says the New Hampshire Land and Community Heritage Investment Program awarded the town of Belmont with an incentive payment of $300, acknowledging submission of the required 2022 annual monitoring report for the Courier Sanborn Conservation Area. These funds are from the Community Conservation Endowment, which was established to help ensure that resources protected with L-CHIP assistance remain in compliance with associated legal agreements. The Land Use Office requests permission to deposit the L-CHIP funds in the Conservation Fund. So this is this a yearly,
Yes.
this is a yearly thing?
Yearly.
That's what I thought.
They do their, and I don't know if Denise, you wanna speak more to it, or, it's just an annual.
It's just an annual thing.
We do
Okay.
one similar to the bandstand.
Okay.
And receive, I think, about the same funds.
That's right.
For that
I'll make a
program.
motion to accept the L-Trip incentive program for $300 annual reporting to the Courier Sanborn Conservation Area.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Okay, Lakes Region Planning Commission update.
So currently, we have no commissioners and no representatives on the Lakes Region Planning Commission. So the planning board is charged with, making those recommendations, but I'm coming to you.
Unfortunately, the planning board in the last couple of years hasn't participated in that. And there was only one man that participated. And Mr. Condo Demitraki has been our representative to the Lakes Region Planning Commission, and we never get a report, we never get.
But I don't think he was participating. That's why we took, that's
That's-
why we kind of,
That's right.
he wasn't
He
participating.
did not participate.
Right. Well, do we have to appoint someone now?
No, I'm just
All right.
letting you know, so we can get the word out to the masses that we are looking. So
Yep.
Belmont is entitled to 2 commissioners and an alternate.
We miss,
So commissioners are nominated by the planning board to the select board, who then make the appointment. The nominee must be a town resident, but can also be a municipal employee.
I'll make a
Okay.
motion that we charge the planning board at their next meeting to put that on their agenda. Since I said on it, maybe they'll do something.
And we can,
What's the time commitment?
It's actually not a lot. It's probably 6 hours a month, maybe. A lot of it you can do by computer and by phone. They look at our area and they look at what is available and what projects we may have, subject to the conservation. This conservation program that they got going right now, that could have been brought up to them and said, well, maybe we've got some money for you to help with surveying, and you got a snowmobile trail going through. They don't wanna lose the snowmobile trails. That has to be brought up and brought to them, because it does link the, I mean, this hasn't been a year of snow, but it does link the Lakes region. And we really haven't had an accurate membership in it for 4 years.
I think it's been more than that. I think it's been over 8 or 10 years, really.
They just-
It's been quite some
And you
time.
don't have to go to the meetings, they're in Meredith, and they do come here upon request. The Lakes Region Planning Commission, 100 years ago, it was the first head of the planning board in Northfield, the first one they ever had. And as my daughter will tell you, our house stunk of eggs because they didn't like planning much. But I got the Lakes Region Planning Commission involved. What I know about planning, so when he went, let's do it, because we had things sprouting up, we didn't have any ordinance, we didn't have any. And they do a great deal now, and they help with your planning, and there's a lot of input that you can get from them, and it's just asking the question, I mean.
I wonder if Denise can get information. Would you be able to get some information?
We can get it,
from her?
I'll, she does,
Yeah,
I'll send it
in
to
the
her.
annual report, the Lakes Region Planning Commission gives us a very lengthy, report on what they do.
It's
So
not, like being on a planning board, it's not that time consuming.
Regional
It-
planning.
It
I've
takes,
read the reports. I think Belmont's hurt, Belmont has been hurt by not having active participation.
I believe you're right, Michael. I believe you're 100% right. And when it was, unfortunately, over the years, and I'm looking at a man who knows who represented us, which really didn't help us much. Helped himself. And I say that publicly.
All right.
So anyone who wants to participate, it would be a great thing that, for a civic commitment, because, and again, you don't have to, we have two, we only had one for the last 4 years, because nobody else ever wanted to participate, with
And then they're also seeking a rep for the TAC appointment, which currently Brian Jacks volunteered for, and his term expires in '24, and then we'd be seeking an alternate, and that is for the Transportation Technical Advisory Committee.
And I
can
would
get you
ask that
information.
Brian stay on that, because that's, 20 years ago, we had a guy come to the town meeting, and I really don't know how the man's name was an engineer, he said Stephen Perno was the man's name. And he was probably the most influential man that I've met in this town in my tenure. So I've been over 20, 25 years now with the planning board and as a selectman, but on the planning board, this man came and said to us, you guys are pooched. Everything goes north and south in your town, but the people wanna go east and west. They wanna go across town. They wanna get off exit 20 and they wanna go to Guilford, but they don't wanna go down Route 3. And 140, well, you gotta bundle it downtown Belmont. So every back road you have going across this town, going to 106 and Route 3 is gonna need to be rebuilt, and it's gonna be overcrowded. He spoke nothing but the truth, and that was 25 years ago. And he was a traffic study. And he said, the planning board hired him, and he came in and said, these are the roads you guys gotta protect. Because this, like, Bean Hill Road, Utah Road, Hurricane Road, Union Road. It's not just, they're just trying to get away from Route 3. And he hit that nail right on the head. He didn't tell us a lie. He proved to be 100% right. He really did.
Also, one of the reps for the Lakes Region Planning Commission typically has been our town planner. So until we fill that position, one of those spots would, be taken up by that position.
That'd be good.
Okay. All right. New Hampshire DES informational meeting. This is on Silver Lake Association. This is on their dam. They're trying to move forward to get, I believe, grant money
Correct.
for the dam for Silver Lake.
Yeah.
And that meeting is next
So
week.
next February 28th,
Yep.
there'll be a meeting in this room
Yep.
at 6 p.m. In attendance will be Mark Sanborn, the Assistant Commissioner of NHDES, leadership from NHDES Water Division, and staff from the Dam Bureau. They have the Silver Lake Association, or Commission as you will, have invited the Board of Selectmen to attend, so you do have
Yep.
an invitation in your packet.
Yep.
We have put the meeting on our website if anyone would like to attend. They have invited, I believe, our reps to attend this meeting. I believe Belmont County has been invited. So they're going to speak on the project that they're bringing forth or already have.
The Silver Lake Association's been very active. They've put a lot of time and effort into this, that's for sure. So I think it's important that people attend this. I know if I had property on the lake and one day my boat slip is there and the next day it's up on the shore or down in the mud,
The river coming out of, everybody forgets, Mike
needs to-
remembers, on 140, a man used to land his seaplane right beside the Hyundai garage in that house. He'd land his seaplane, turn around, go out. Right now in July, you could walk across that. Because all the silt that Laconia for many years dumped all their sand and their dirt in the river,
all come
walked
down.
right down the river, and it built up right there where it slowed down, and it's built its own earthen dam. And now Franklin, with their new water spillway, they want the water also.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a big thing for the Lakes region and help Silver Lake, because that's, the push is coming from Franklin. The people in Silver Lake, one day the dock's up, next day 10 feet down to the boat. But it's controlled by the dam because they're trying to keep Franklin happy. But that river is plugged. And you can see it in the summer right on 140, because there used to be a bridge there, now it's an overpass, but
So it's important, I think, that,
it is, we
that
participate.
some people participate in that meeting, that's for sure.
Yep.
Okay. Other new business?
My retirement is.
Just me.
Oh,
Can I do mine first, then you can do yours? Sure. Okay, I just have two. So at about 5 o'clock today, hot off the press, we got our 2022 equalization ratio, which is how we equalize the values, and we came in at 91.8, which I was thinking we were gonna be at about 95, so right around the mark.
okay, awesome.
And I did have a meeting today with BPS in regards to our wish to move forward with the mill, and that your first project you wanted was to be the elevator.
Mhm.
So I do have their quote from Otis on the elevator. So the new quote is, and this is just for the elevator, this isn't for BPS as part of it, 105,100.
So what's the total?
105.
No,
Oh,
that's
That-
not that part of it. I mean, I got the
BPS's
steak sandwich, but I want the bread to go with it.
Yep, well, the steak is 105, so the rest of it plays into a bigger picture, so does.
So you gotta detail what that entails, what they're gonna replace?
Yes. I just got it today, so I haven't had the time to really consume it, but I can give you guys copies. So the gist of it is it's gonna be about 5 months to manufacture, so we're about 5 months out from the day we say, okay. And about and that's given no supply holdup like we had with the PD.
with the bean.
And then about 4 to 6 weeks install.
Okay.
So I wanna know what the big picture is.
So the big picture depends on you and how you wanna move forward with renovating the mill.
My picture is, if it's $105,000,
Mm-hmm.
I bought the car, does it come with tires? Does it come with a warranty? Does it come with windows, and do I get mustard on my hot dog?
Well, obviously, she
At
needs,
105, I wanna know what the elevator install with BPS and their work is gonna be.
So I don't have what BPS's work would be because that depends on how you wanna move forward with the renovation.
I only wanna talk about the elevator.
So we can't just talk about that.
Yes, we can.
No, we can't.
Why?
So I'll tell you why. So because it's gonna be about a 4 to 6 week install, you don't wanna pay BPS just to come and watch that elevator be installed. You wanna have them in the building watching other projects going on as well as the elevator. Because you're gonna pay way more money just to watch them put that elevator in and fix that project versus having them oversee other projects that are going on.
I don't understand that at all, because if I'm hiring Otis Elevator Company, and I said replace that put an Otis elevator in there, tell me what it's gonna be. There's the building, how much is it gonna cost to put that elevator, you're prescribing for this application, how much is it gonna cost, and what's the time frame? I'm not redecorating the building, how much is it gonna cost to put an elevator in that shaft?
Well, you'd spend your money more wisely if you had them doing other things too.
but why do
Well,
we?
why do we need Bonnet, Page and Stone? What's wrong with Otis?
Because Bonnet will have to do any drywall fixing that needs to be done,
Fine,
any
Fine.
of the,
have Otis put it in. I got a man sitting in the back, right there, he can keep me advised of that. If they gotta cut the hole bigger, I wanna talk to Otis more. I wanna know what they're gonna do, how big the hole they're gonna cut, what's the capacity of the elevator, and what we have to perform for them before I give that contract to Bonnet, Page and Stone.
well, then I think you might wanna have Otis come in to answer those questions.
Bring it on.
Okay. So So to move on with my other questions on, as far as how you would like to go with the renovation, they have asked us, so there's 3 options. We can do it all at one time, and we stay at town hall, and we don't come over here until every single floor is done. The other one is a phased, which would be 1.5 floors, 2 floors done, some offices over there, some offices over here. And then the third option would be some construction while occupied. So maybe they get the first floor completely done and the third floor and the other offices that would be less disruptive, like maybe my office or Catherine, where we're the only 2 real people in that floor, maybe we can work around construction or.
Well, I think it all boils down to the money, dear. I mean, I think we had discussed that the elevator needed to be done first because obviously we're on borrowed time. We then came to the conclusion that a generator is going to be needed for this building because of the last time we lost power. And we don't have a estimate yet for a generator.
I asked him today for one.
Okay. And how much money do we have to spend on this building this year? I think that
I have that
probably.
money. I have that for you.
Okay, and what is that?
So, do you wanna decide which phase you might wanna go with?
No, I wanna know how much money, and then that's gonna tell me
Alright.
if we're gonna do any phase.
So you currently have 460,000 in the municipal facilities account. I recommend that you keep at least 200 as your buffer, and you can choose to go up or down with that. But I would say 200 would be your buffer for any other projects that may arise with other buildings. Then we have, hopefully, the excess bond funds from the PD pass, and we have an additional 48.
48.
Then we have the warrant article for the 300. So that brings you to a total of 816 minus the 200 buffer of 616 to play with.
Okay. Well, I guess, we need to get obviously, our elevator, and we need to get a generator quote. Because, what was the generator for the police department? I don't remember. 80? So let's just, might as well just say 100,000.
And that's the only one that company manufactures that's propane fed.
And we want it propane, and that's gonna be another expense, and, are we gonna bury the tanks, or are we going to?
That was his 2 questions he wanted answered. Do you want them
Yeah.
buried or above? And can we
Want
have them
buried.
buried where they're so close to the water?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't either.
Well, I don't think for propane it matters, does it? Because
Mike
No.
says yes.
One of the things we need to consider is that the heating plant here needs to be changed. If we do that, if we go with a propane generator, we need to make the system big enough to handle a propane furnace.
All right.
But my recommendation is that we keep the furnace that we have, which is oil-based,
yeah,
and put in a propane furnace as the new unit, so the town can play the market. If one year the oil is way down, you go with the oil, you run that service. If the LP is cheaper, you go with that. Or if there's a supply issue like we had last year where they were dumping 5-gallon cans in the tank to try to keep us going because they couldn't supply us, we as a town take control of that, and we can do our own
Sure.
So
sure.
that would be my recommendation there.
All right, okay. I guess we need our generator, quote.
Can I make a comment?
Yep, you sure can.
Just commenting on the elevator.
Yeah,
As you know, constructing the police department, we have many issues with the elevator, applications and basically the shaft size, things that need to be added, running off of a certain spec to find out that spec was off a little bit. I mean, we were dealing with, I'm gonna say inches, but it was closer to millimeters in size the way they built the shaft. I think you're kind of you're on the right track of having Otis come in here.
Yeah.
Because that shaft needs to be inspected to find out exactly what they're going to need to be put in there.
Yeah.
What configurations, the elevators are different now, that one's, this isn't a
We may find out that this shaft doesn't even accommodate,
That's right. You
that's
may
what
find
I'm
out that
nervous about.
There needs to be more construction,
Yep.
more supports, more whatevers,
Mm-hmm,
because this is gonna be a hydraulic elevator where mine's not.
yep.
Uh,
Was
I-
yours an
I-
Otis?
Um,
I
No.
don't remember, I
No,
don't
it
think
wasn't.
so.
no, matter of fact, mine is the only elevator in the state right now that operates electrically the way it does.
Yeah.
The inspector who came up here from the state of New Hampshire, it's the first one he's ever seen.
Okay,
So it took me like 3 days to get the inspection and the certification for that elevator.
okay.
But I would definitely get that really honed in
Yeah.
before you make
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
move at all, because it's just
Mm-hmm,
too critical and it's a very tight space to make a mistake.
okay.
So it seems like from the quote, they're retaining quite a bit. So they're gonna retain the interlocks, retain car door tracks and hangers, retain the hoistway entrance, retain hoistway door.
Not really replacing it.
No, and like Barrett told me today, he's like, you're gonna say I spent 100 for what? Cause it looks exactly the same, because you're not, I don't think we're changing a lot internally and what we see on the outside.
It's more of the guts of
The
it.
guts and the
The
mechanics. You're retaining the hoistway door
The hydraulics and
restrictors,
everything.
retaining the floor even, retaining the spring buffers.
I'd like to get a second opinion by a licensed engineer onto that booklet you got right there.
Alicia, did they say who the installer would be for the elevator?
I don't know.
If it's the company that did the police department, they're a good company. The suppliers
Or-
were a problem.
Mm-hmm,
The
which,
supply itself was a problem, but also they sent equipment that wasn't correct, or it wasn't measured and cut properly, and had to go back and get done, so.
yeah. And I think if you can make copies of that at some point, Alicia, so that,
Absolutely.
yeah. And I think the other thing was for everyone to understand that we have a temporary meeting hall, for lack of knowing what else to call it, downstairs in the basement. So the time this building is down, because we have to meet handicap, thank you, I'm having a brain cramp. And so we are temporarily going to have meetings downstairs, but we're not going to spend a lot of money by moving all of the electronics down there. It would cost for maybe one meeting, maybe two if we're lucky. Just so that everyone understands that.
And
All right.
Ruth, just to let you know that EPS does have a quote from Otis. I spoke to Otis and they did give them a quote. So I don't know if this is them, they've chosen as the manufacturer supplier or someone else. But Otis did
This
give a
is
quote
Otis.
on the project.
This is Otis.
That's Otis.
Yeah.
But
And isn't it Otis
But you're
that,
buying it through BPS. So, you're paying a little bit of juice.
yeah, it might be,
Not knowing an old car number, but you're paying a little juice.
yeah.
So let's make sure, because
Yeah,
we're
right.
Whoever your
They're-
builder is.
they're gonna be the middleman. EPS gonna be the middleman. They're gonna have somebody here looking at, what he knows, he's an engineer all his life. They're getting paid to do this.
Yeah.
And they're gonna, I'm gonna say a new Chevrolet truck. Okay, here you go. I'm gonna get paid somewhere along the line. So, I just, I think Otis is the way to go because they're a national firm. But let's just see just what we're changing and what we're getting for our money. Everybody forgets that this top floor was a kitchen. The mixer that was in that side of this building, the top floor, weighed 6,800 pounds. And they put it down on that elevator. They brought it up on that elevator, and they put it down on that elevator. We had the elevator checked this past year, got certified again, am I right?
Yes.
Yep, it's sort of,
That mixer was a, huge dough mixer, and it make, Do we need a new elevator? Yes, if we're gonna do the building, we need a new elevator, let's make sure. But let's just make sure where we're going. I know BPS gotta make some money, but we've given them some money, we've given them the jobs in this town, and they're a local firm, and they're good They've been good to us. On the police station, they saved us. How much
lot of
money?
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
That they did.
And they
Mike,
went over and
what-
above.
What were you gonna say?
Typically, the designer manufacturer is some company that's big as Otis would provide an engineer on site.
I would think so. That, exactly what I was thinking also.
That engineer will be on the site from start to finish and even get you through the permitting process, paying, Lion.
Yeah.
So BPS.
BP, yeah,
The GC, that just seemed like a good use of.
yeah,
that
yeah.
term.
yeah, we need to put a little bit more thought into that.
And
Okay,
not to push them aside, but at the same token, the other work that we give them is substantial.
And so they were kind of just waiting to give you a quote on that to see, so they know we have other areas we wanna do, so if they can, you know, bang out 2 or 3 projects at one time, then the cost would just be
Yeah.
less than paying them to come sit here
okay.
and
All right.
monitor that. And if you guys have any idea of what kind of a direction you wanna go as to the construction, that can kinda gear them as to how they, you know, come to us with the money that we have and say, okay, this year we can definitely do this with your funds, and then next year we can do this. And also, when the elevator is being done, and we're downstairs on the first floor, they can't be renovating the first floor because we're gonna be having our meetings there, or if they do, they just, you know, I don't wanna be in their way. So they would have to shift gears to come to another floor while they were doing the elevator.
So you have, you'll get all that information to us?
Yep, I
Okay,
can, if you wanna
awesome.
come by tomorrow, you can
Okay.
grab a copy, and then, they also did give us a draft, contract agreement if we want to review too.
Okay, awesome, okay.
And do we have any idea about the tanks and whether they can even be underground because of the proximities of the water?
We have to see what the locations are for that,
I mean, it would be
Irving,
right.
if you call Irving right now, tomorrow morning, call Irving. I assume that's who we're, our contract's with right now, and having a little bit to do with that. They'll tell you, and they won't charge any money. They'll come out and say, yeah, we can do this, we can do that, and they'll tell you. And it doesn't cost anything.
They were underground tanks previously, correct?
Yeah, but with what I think we're gonna use for gallonage, because of the oil, we're gonna put propane under,
You'll need a bigger.
yes, probably too. I mean, we're heating a big barn.
And you had an item, Craig?
Yeah, and I apologize for not getting on the agenda, but things have kind of come around pretty fast. Basically, I'm seeking the board's approval, to expend $73,350 out of the Heavy Equipment Capital Reserve Fund for the purchase of 2023 GMC 3500 dump with a new V-plow. Current balance in the account is $134,792. This will leave the account balance at $61,442. A recent inspection from, this truck's been hurting for a while, so we've been trying to nurse it along as long as we could. The town mechanic is recommending that due to the age of the vehicle and the severity of the repairs, that we replace the vehicle. If we had sufficient funds, like I said, we have $134,000 in change in capital reserves, so, I approached this, looking for a vehicle. I found a vehicle, from the same people that we bought the last truck, the last water sewer truck. They have something available that is exactly what we need. I think we really need to strike now because the supply out there is just so limited. I think we need to just make this purchase.
And what are we gonna do with the old one? Send it to auction?
We'll send it on. Yep. Yeah, and it's like,
That's not my department,
Yeah.
that's your department.
well, John had estimated, he looked at the truck and said we could get probably
$5,500 to $7,500.
Yeah.
Although I was so wrong last year, we took a 15-year-old truck down there, and I figured to do $8,000, it did $15,000.
So, I mean,
Stayed off.
realistically, right now, we're estimating that the truck needs $5,000 or $6,000 worth of repair. You're still gonna have a 13-year-old truck.
I was just gonna say, how old was it? Yeah.
It's 2010.
Yeah.
And it's got 100,000 miles on it, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you've driven 100,000 miles and you haven't gone out of town Belmont, it's a lot of miles.
You haven't left town.
When you haven't left town, you got 100,000 miles.
Well, I guess, you know, that's obviously, John's the car guy, I mean, that's what the funds are there for, if we've got something that
And
needs to be.
I'm not positive, but I believe that might be the twin to the fire department truck. I think they got those two at the same time.
We did, we bought those trucks at the same
They're
time.
getting that replaced this year also.
And of course, you have to understand that unfortunately, I'm not a Ford man, so. And I really, he went out and looked out, because he knows where I buy these trucks, and I buy them from a very good, out of a dealership that charges very little over cost. And there's the truck, they've got the truck that's got a dump body on it, it's a new rear wheel truck instead, but that's with a 9.5 foot
Yeah, it's a great
stainless
deal
steel
of
plow.
plow, it's just.
It's got, it's a rack.
I don't, I mean, obviously,
I know it's,
I need your blessing, basically.
yeah, yeah,
You may go wrong.
yeah, okay. Guess that means you got it,
Thank you.
all right.
Let's take a vote on that, please.
Oh,
And can you restate the amount?
Okay. The amount for the purchase will be $73,350.
How much?
$73,350, and that's with the plow.
I assume that's a 1 ton?
one time was done.
Oh, okay.
We had talked about replacing it with a 1 ton pickup, but for the money, you can get a dual wheel with a dump cheaper than you can buy the pickup, have a chassis, and then put a body on it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. Because the pickups are just crazy right now.
Huh,
So what do you got in the capital reserve now?
134,792.
134.
So that'll leave us a balance of 61,442. And
and is that before,
yes.
okay,
So we've
before before voting?
warrant article, which is
Sure.
another,
All right,
which will bring
okay.
us back up to 121,442.
Yep,
As far as I'm concerned, you got my blessing.
Thank you very much.
all right. So you need,
Let's do a
consider that a motion,
All right,
All right, I'll make it as a motion.
And I'll second.
all in favor?
All right.
thank you.
Thank
All
you
right.
for your research.
This is a great step up. This is the last
Old
piece of
thing?
The oldest
that
one.
Got
really, it lacked maintenance, and now it'll be in the good rotations.
So when are you gonna get this truck?
We're gonna make a phone call tomorrow.
The truck's in, Sonny, the truck's in
It's in
stock.
stock, so,
I called him about a pickup,
Oh, yep,
and he said, I don't have one.
yep.
But he said, and Craig went on the internet, because he knows where I get these, and he went, look, so they got a 1 ton up there that he swapped in with a body all on it. The truck probably would have been a little less, but then it's red, and it's our color.
Okay,
But Madigan put the body on it, so we're probably paying $800 more than we would have, but it's there.
yeah, and like
We
I
can have
said,
the truck.
the way supply is right now, I think if we'd have just tried to
Yep.
go out and find one, who knows when we would have
Well,
gotten
we
it.
bought 4 trucks from these people.
okay.
And just an update, so our truck that we ordered over a year ago, we should be getting delivery on that in a couple of weeks, so. There's been
Okay.
a lot of-
We're
lot of
making
time
payments on
getting
it, right?
Yeah, we're making payments.
We're making payments, but we don't have it yet. Got it, all right, good,
Quite a truck, I'll see you guys.
good, awesome. Okay, old business?
So we have the purchasing policy up again for review.
All right,
I'd like a copy of that policy because of somehow, I had a fit, somebody's got it on my kitchen table and had a fit one night and ripped it up.
oh,
So probably I should have another copy of that because I didn't agree with that one that was in front of me, so I kind of disposed of it.
okay, all right,
I was gonna make some amendments
So
to
we'll
it.
table it yet again.
yep.
I think Mark came over and said I was reading the wrong paper.
Code violation update.
Not tonight.
Do you wanna table that one too?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And I think when we discuss that, I would prefer to have Mark here for that too, obviously. Other old business?
I have nothing else.
Okay. Anybody have anything? Okay. Our next scheduled meeting is Monday, March 6th, 10 o'clock in the morning here, and we have no non-public.
We do not, and a reminder, that is our last meeting of 3.
All right, awesome. Very good.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
I'll second it.
all in favor? Aye.
Sonia, they got that tree down pretty lickety split, didn't they?
You know, I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. I said, you know, that was really,